Hello, John Paul here with JP's Magic Corner. So today I'm going to go over the new mythics I haven't gone over yet, and then also go over some of the rares I want to talk about because I haven't talked about any of the rares yet. If you would leave a like and a comment and then subscribe, I would appreciate it. Helps the channel out a lot. Okay, so let's get right into it. So we're going to start with the Garruk here. I have the English translation over here. It's Garruk the Unchained. Two generic, two colorless, starts at 4 loyalty. His +1 up to one target creature gains +3/+3 and trample until end of turn. -2, create a 3/3 beast creature token. Then if an opponent controls more creatures than you, put a loyalty counter on Garruk Unchained. Then -7, you get an emblem with at the beginning of your end step. You may search your library for a creature card and put it on the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. So, for 4 mana, he's pretty good. The +3/+3 is pretty aggressive. If you like ramp into him with something like Boreal Grazer or even Paradise Druid is not really. Well, he can make the token and he can protect himself. So, I mean, he's pretty good even ramped into. And then the emblem is going to close out games really well. So, overall, he's definitely. All 5 of the Planeswalkers are pretty good. Like, the weakest one's probably the Chandra, just because she costs 5 and that's kind of a lot to commit to in mono red. But they're all really good. I think Garruk is definitely going to see some play right now. Probably not till Nissa rotates, because Nissa right now is just one of the best walkers to play. But definitely going to be really good. Okay, so then some of the other mythics that we've seen, there's only I believe we've seen 12 mythics, so there's only 3 mythics we haven't seen. Let's go over this real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, there's 2 mythics we haven't seen. For sure, it's going to be at least 1 blue mythic. And then the other one, maybe multicolor, or probably red, green, or blue. I mean, we've seen 3 black and 3 white, so there won't be any of those. But anyway, Fiery Emancipation. 3 red, 3 generic. If a source you control will deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage to that permanent or player instead. Definitely going to see a lot of casual play, a lot of jank combo play. Probably not see much standard or competitive play, because like Torburn just fits a lot better. Like, it's 3 hard red, 1 generic, but like for the most part, the 2 extra damage each red permanent or source, or each red source deals, is kind of just better. And this is also only does permanent, so it doesn't deal. No, it's a source. Yeah. Okay. So I feel Torburn is just because of the curve, it works way better, especially for more aggressive aggro decks. This could definitely be better in weird combo variants, things like that, as a topper for maybe something that's more control-y. But for the most part, I don't think it's going to have much of a home in any kind of constructed format. In Commander, it's going to see people are going to throw it into a lot of stuff and then get there in weird commander damage ways and stuff like that. So it's definitely more of a commander card than anything else. I wouldn't expect it to see a lot of play in constructed formats. Okay, and then Elder Gargaroth. I butchered that. So 3 generic, 2 green, beast creature, 6/6, vigilance, reach, trample, and whenever it attacks or blocks, choose 1. Create a 3/3 green beast creature token. You gain 3 life or draw a card. Really good. For 5 mana, it definitely is probably going to see some play in standard. When the format shrinks, I definitely think it's going to be one of the best 5 mana green creatures we have. It just does a little bit of everything. If there's like a green based control deck, I could definitely see this being the finisher, because it can give you board presence, gain the life, draw the card. When it whenever it attacks or blocks, it's pretty good. It's definitely a very good finisher. Could this be a top end for any kind of green aggressive deck? Very much so, because there's a lot of ramp right now. So any green based deck, even if it's sort of an aggro build, is probably going to have ramp of some kind. I would expect to see quite a bit of play. And I believe that's all the new mythics I haven't talked about yet. Yep. Okay, that's the buy box and then those. So let's go over and talk about some of the better rares we've seen so far. Let's see. The Transmogrify, it's pretty much a polymorph. I think it's more or less a polymorph, except it exiles the target creature for red. It's pretty good. It's definitely going to see, well, it's going to see some jank play. It's going to see some combo play. It kind of really comes down to what other big creatures you can kind of abuse with it. It's pretty much Luca's minus ability. Except Luca, you can only do it on your creatures, I believe. Yeah, Luca, you can only do it on yours. So, I mean, you can use it as removal if need be, but for the most part, you're just going to try to combo with it and bring out something that's really abusable. It's definitely going to see a lot of play casually, commander, things like that. It might find a deck in standard. Idol of Endurance, 2 generic, 1 white. I kind of thought this might be a cycle, but we haven't seen anything else from it, so maybe it's not a cycle. But when Idol of Endurance enters the battlefield, exile all creature cards with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard until Idol of Endurance leaves the battlefield. Till end of turn, you may cast a creature spell from among the cards exiled when Idol of Endurance without paying its mana cost. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be pretty solid white recursion. It's a lot like Luris's effect. Luris is probably still better even after the companion nerf. It might see some fringe play. It's going to see some commander play. It slots into most commander decks. If this is a cycle, I would assume it's some kind of idol that comes into play and lets you reuse effects, has a tap ability like that. I guess it doesn't make a ton of sense that it would be like a cycle, but just the name, or a name like that normally makes you think of a cycle. But I guess it's just going to be a one-off. And then one everyone's talking about, conspicuous Snoop. 2 red, 2/2. Goblin Rogue. Play with the top card of your library revealed. You may cast goblin spells from the top of your library. As long as the top card of your library is a goblin card, conspicuous Snoop has all activated abilities of that card. He's pretty good. Being able to play with the top card of your library revealed in a goblin deck to give you Ghast is definitely very good. The activated ability thing, I can't... It's going to see some play. There's a couple goblins with activated abilities that are definitely really good. Not really so much in standard. I can't really think of a goblin that has a good activated ability in standard. I'm probably missing something really obvious. But he's definitely going to see a lot of play in probably older formats. The real question is there a certain combination of goblins that you can really abuse with him? I'm not super familiar with all the like modern and pioneer goblin decks, but he is definitely going to see a lot of play in any commander goblin decks or any casual goblin decks, and probably going to see a lot of play in constructed goblin decks too. He seems pretty good. Heroic Intervention. This is a reprint. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible till end of turn. Very solid card. Is it going to see play? It's definitely going to see sideboard play and come in for certain matchups. It's not as broken as Veil of Summer was, but Veil of Summer got banned for a reason. Let's see. Lots of good reprints. That's what everyone's talking about. We have a Souza, Lost But Seeking in here. Let's scroll down. Because Solemn Simulacrum got a reprint, and I think that's really good. It's going to help lower the price a lot. He gets played in a lot of commander decks. Just overall a very good card. Very value town. He's going to see lots of standard play for sure. How much really kind of depends on what kind of homes he finds, because we definitely needed more ramp in this format. Overall, fantastic card. One of my favorites, so I'm glad to see it back. Temples are getting reprinted. I think it's cool that all 10 temples are going to stay together. We'll have to see what kind of lands or multicolor strategies come in with Zendikar Rising. They're okay. I mean, they're definitely good for more mid-range and control strategies. It's gonna be interesting to see what Rago or aggro does with the shocks leaving, and see if some of the more aggressive two-color decks kind of fall out of favor. I assume Rakdos Sack is still, well, once Mayhem Devil leaves, it's still gonna see play because a Cat Oven is very strong 2 cards. But it's going to have to find some other stuff to really kind of get there. Fabled Passage getting reprinted so soon. It's really good because, I mean, it slots into every commander deck. It definitely gets play in a lot of constructed decks. If Landfall returns in Zendikar, which I assume Landfall is coming back because this got reprinted in Core 2021, and they just want everyone to have copies of it. It's gonna be really good if there's landfall strategies that are good. If there's good payoffs, because the second time they brought it back in Battle for Zendikar, the landfall cards weren't as good. But I have a feeling they're probably gonna be turned back up to be more like OG Zendikar. So I don't think fetches are coming back in standard for Zendikar, but this one fetch will help turn on enough of the landfall stuff that it will make landfall pretty solid. All the dogs are cute. None of them, I haven't seen any dog that feels super strong. This guy is probably one of the better ones. Giving a creature indestructible, a 1/1 for 1. It's always going to be relevant, assuming that there's enough else going on in the strategy to help out. This is the dog Lord, 1 pack leader, 1 generic, 1 white, 2/2 other dogs. You control get +1/+1, and whenever pack leader attacks, all combat damage will be dealt this turn to dogs you control. Solid pseudo evasion for the dogs, help them, go in as much as possible. It's a solid card, but the dog tribe is going to need a lot of help to be like anywhere near standard viable. But it's going to be a fun deck no matter what. And then Containment Priest is probably one of the other really big reprints. 1 generic, 1 white, 2/2 flash. If a non-token creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile it instead. Very good card in a lot of older formats. Stops a lot of combo plays. It having flash just lets you kind of counterspell a lot of strategies, a lot of degenerate combos. So it's a much needed reprint. It doesn't stop escape. It doesn't stop a lot of things that are in standard right now that kind of Draenith Magistrates stops, because what they stop is actually really different, because you have to, if the creature wasn't cast, this stops it, but Draenith Magistrate just prevents you from casting cards other than your hand. So it's a little interesting. I'm gonna be funny to see a lot of people on Arena play this thinking it can stop escape cards, but it doesn't at first. That's gonna happen. But that's pretty much all of the major rares I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of other good stuff in there. Overall, it looks like a much more balanced set so far from what we've seen. Cultivate's one of the better uncommon reprints we're getting. Once again, we needed more ramp in this format. This art for Rambunctious Mutt is one of my favorite arts so far of the set. But overall, it's looking pretty good. It looks like it's going to have a lot of amazing reprints. It doesn't feel like it has more reprints than a normal core set, but the reprints are a lot better quality than the reprints we get in a normal core set, which is really good. But anyway, if you liked the video, leave a like and a comment, and don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for stopping by the corner. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.